very intelligent, one cannot take to devotional service or Krishna consciousness. So all of you are very intelligent. Naturally, anyone who is first class devotee must be a first class intelligent person, and therefore not interested in any kind of benediction within this material world. Okay. Prabhupada says Kuvera can only give riches because he is the king of the treasurer of all the demigods. So there is no need for him to get anything from any rich from him. And therefore he is considered to be intelligent, but he didn't ask for material things. Right? We will say, I'll take some money so I can do preaching and something. We will say like that, but we will use it.
50% ourselves.
Yeah, 50%. That's nice.
Tasya priteena manasa tam dattavai davidastataha pashyaton tadhade sopi swapuram pratyapadhyate.
The son of Idavida, Lord Kuvera, was very pleased and happily he gave Dhruva Maharaja the benediction he wanted. Thereafter he disappeared from Dhruva's presence and Dhruva Maharaj returned to his capital city.
So this whole incident, can we, it's not like, can we list it as like a good use of anger? In the beginning it was, but he got caught up, so it's like an example too. That
generally there's no good use
generally
for us in general.
For us, yeah.
We are not in the platform, the pure devotees where they can use anger like Hanuman and all those personalities. We don't. We will rarely use the anger the wrong way. So practicing to control your anger is actually one of the most serious thing in your Krishna consciousness. You should try your best to not get angry. Better you walk away and say, I'll come back later and then discuss. Unless it's really that you have to deal with it. If you can't really control your anger, then you may do other things, right? Because it clouds your intelligence. So you may think you are a devotee who's angry and is doing the right thing. You'll see their intelligence is sharp when they are angry and trying to do the right thing, and they do everything accordingly. But a person who is not in control of anger cannot think like that. So we cannot say that the whole idea behind it in this chapter so far, in this canto so far, is problems occur due to anger and enviousness. Right? In the beginning, Daksha, right? First thing he was angry and envious. And then now we see Dhruva Maharaj, Suruchi was also angry and she cursed. She didn't want anyone, and proud and envious also. And then now we see Dhruva Maharaj himself was angry, and therefore the consequences. So you see there's a trend to show us that actually we don't want to cultivate anger. We can say, oh well, Dhruva Maharaj also was angry. We can say, right? We can argue on that principle. And so I also am a devotee. I can get angry. Right? So it's something we should not loosely accept. Yeah.
Prabhu, what is its role in disciplining the children?
Mm-hmm.
Anger's role in disciplining children?
It's like the snake which shows the hood. That's how your anger should be for the child. The child shouldn't see you get angry then laugh. So Yeah, you can't do that. I've seen many parents in school
hear anything.
and then they both look at each other. The kid also thinks it's a joke.
They make you to do that.
So you,
They figure out, they make you to laugh.
Yeah.
so basically you don't come under anger, but you show anger
Yeah.
so that to discipline them.
Yeah,
It's
you
like-
show it, but it's not
They
like.
show anger, but they
No, that's why you have to have so much love that you show it, that you act it out so well. Yeah.
But I think there is affectionate anger also, right? Just like as you said, affectionate anger.
No, I'm just saying that. I just said
Yeah,
that.
same.
So it's like Yashoda Mai, she runs with him with the stick.
Yeah.
And when she sees he's become very afraid, then for the well-being, she throws a child and she understands, okay, he understood his mistake, let me leave him.
Mhm.
No, she ties him up.
Yeah. She ties him up, but she doesn't,
So that she doesn't,
Yes.
he doesn't get in the way.
Yeah.
and he doesn't harm himself like going outside.
But he cries anyway. he breaks down. When his father comes, he puts on a show. Then Nanda Maharaj gets angry with Yashoda.
standard this what
Oh,
happens.
we have not heard this one.
Yeah.
But in case of anger, is it better to use your actions than words? Like, even like the showing the hood also.
No, you can't. It depends, right? Generally, if the child is too intelligent, you can argue. The child will argue back, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why, like some punishment or
Yeah.
taking something away.
Yeah. So, but then that also is like deprivation. So, anyway, you can show anger, but don't. It's an act.
Seriousness.
It's not that you are really angry. It's like you show.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah. So just like the snake, show the hood, but don't bite.
Whatever gets the intended result.
Mm.
The gratification.
And if the child is pious or good, they will listen. But then if you find your child is not like that, then you better find out other ways to train the child. One mother was telling me, right, the other day, the child was told several times not to eat chocolate and so on. But the child, when she went to school, they gave her a chocolate and then she hid and ate it, even though she knows she shouldn't eat. So the mother was watching and she said, she did it and I don't know what to do. So there are children like that who will still, after knowing, they know they shouldn't do sinful activities, they somehow or other, due to past conditioning or past proclivities from previous life, they will go and do that, even though they have never been exposed. So that is a possibility like that. So, yeah. But in any case, the parent must show affection and anger, but it's like an act for anger, but real affection. Can't be acting in both. So the benediction he wanted was just to, from Kuvera, is so that he will not forget or make advancement favorable for Krishna consciousness. Okay, so we can therefore remember when the gopis also, Prabhupada gives the answer, Katyayani, they prayed to have Krishna as their husband. So that's acceptable. So if you worship demigods, you can say, increase my Krishna consciousness. That's acceptable. That is acceptable. But not asking them for material things, then that's not acceptable. Okay? So Prabhupada writes, Dhruva Maharaj did not ask Kuvera for transference to the spiritual world, which is called liberation. He simply asked that wherever he would remain, whether in the spiritual or material world, he would always remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A Vaishnava is always respectful to everyone. So when Kuvera offered him a benediction, he did not refuse it. But he wanted something which would be favorable to his advancement in Krishna consciousness. And he didn't want Kuvera to feel bad or angry towards him also, as we read earlier on. So that Kuvera will have some resentment towards Dhruva. He didn't want that also. But now Kuvera was very happy with Dhruva. Text 10.
अता यजत यज्ञेशम् क्रतुभिर्भूरि दक्षिणैः द्रव्यक्रिया देवतानां कर्म कर्म फलप्रदम्.
As long as he remained at home, Dhruva Maharaj performed many great ceremonial sacrifices in order to please the enjoyer of all sacrifices, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prescribed ceremonial sacrifices are especially meant to please Lord Vishnu, who is the objective of all such sacrifices and who awards the resultant benedictions. Yagna tat karmana nyatra lokayam karma bandhana. One should act or work only in order to please the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, one becomes entangled in the resultant reactions. So as a king, he does a lot of these sacrifices. In those days, this is a common practice for the kings. We may think why he has to do it, He can just sit down and chant also. But this is part of the duty that he was showing as an example also. And also part of ceremonies that he used to do that. And on top of that, these are expected because there are, under the king, there are so many other people, they sometimes cannot live. They need the king to support them. So when he does this yajna and all, he always distributes in charity. So many things. So the brahmanas will survive, the vaishyas and all this, even the shudras. So the king takes care of them like that. Even kshatriyas take money also, charity, like that. Alright? Okay, so there's some description about kshatriyas there. And then Prabhupada writes in the next paragraph, kshatriyas and vaishyas are therefore especially advised to give in charity at least 50% of their accumulated wealth. Okay, so we are Shudras, right? Now we will say
Now we're happy to be Shudra.
now we will say I'm Shudra. So nice. Huh?
So nice mind work. So nice mind work.
Yeah, exactly, isn't it? In any case, one has to perform, remember in Bhagavad Gita, Yajna, Dana and Tapasya, and they are never to be given up. Which chapter? 18th chapter. Yeah. Tapasya is meant for the renounced order of life. Those who are retired from worldly activities should perform tapasya, penances and austerities. Those who are in the material world, the kshatriyas and vaishyas, must give charity. Brahmacharis in the beginning of their life should perform different kinds of yajnas. So all these are different activities that are recommended. Okay? Yeah. But householders must always give charity. You can't say, I am not a kshatriya or vaishya. It's still your duty. So Prabhupada continues about Dhruva Maharaj. He says he practically emptied his treasury by giving charity. So a king is not meant simply to realize taxes from the citizens and accumulate wealth to spend in sense gratification. Generally the taxation system, according to the Vedic system, is to tax the people for use when the country is suffering. Yeah. Not for the king to accumulate. Famine and flooding or earthquake or all those kind of things. Okay?
Not for maintenance, Prabhu.
That's maintenance also, but maintenance is very minimal. They tax so that when there's a terrible event, they will easily help the people in their kingdom. Okay. Yeah, but nowadays all is just for their own sense gratification. Prabhupada writes that the politicians have very little time to think of the welfare of the citizens, whom they oppress with heavy taxes in the form of income tax, sales tax and many other taxes. People sometimes have 80 to 90% of the income taken away, and these taxes are lavishly spent for the high salaries drawn by the officers and rulers, CEOs, etc. Formerly, the taxes accumulated from the citizens were spent for performing great sacrifices as enjoined in the Vedic script literatures. Now these yagnas, when they do it, the success of the yagna is the country is very fruitful. Opulence is there, gold, everything is in the land, right? Even the pearls in the ocean, all abundant. But when you are not doing the right sacrifice, all this gets minimized. So the earth itself can produce, as much as you want. She can produce. She's like a desired tree. She can produce. But if you are sinful, then she withdraws. Just like later on you will read about Prithu Maharaj, how he makes the earth also produce. Okay. So for us, our yagna is Sankirtan yagna. So one can also say that the present situation in the world is more or less still good because of the devotees, because we are performing Sankirtan yagna. You could say that. And just imagine if we didn't practice, then how much terrible it would be. Okay. And right.
Who the soldiers were? Are they Kshatriyas or Shudras or
Where?
soldiers?
Nowadays?
No, in the previous times.
Previous time they are Kshatriyas. They are all Kshatriyas. They may have some...
So they are maintained by the king, the salary and
the king maintains them, that's true. Most of the Kshatriyas.
Usually they have their own land and just put income.
Depends how big the...
Because I thought that if anyone is being maintained by someone, like through money, then that's a
Well, Kshatriya kings, there is kings, and he has also people working under him. They have within the land, they have their own house, everything supplied by the king, and then that's it. But they are not rulers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Kshatriya kings are the rulers.
No, but these people have those Kshatriya
Yes.
qualities,
Yes.
the soldiers.
Yes, of course. Yeah, they don't go and do other kind of things. They are always practicing, warfare, all those things. You will see within the formation there is the general, right? And then below them there are charioteers, and then the elephant riders, and then below them is the cavalry, and then below them is the infantry, like that. And then you got the archers, like that. So everyone has a certain role, and then the highest one is the generals. They control the whole thing. And higher than them is the king, but in those days the kings are also there fighting.
And now, what are the qualities? Mostly Shudra.
For
the
yeah, generally Shudra. There are people with some inclination towards Kshatriya qualities, some Vaishya qualities. Generally it's mixed. It's because you see yourself, right? When you're not very Krishna conscious, you check yourself. You see where your nature takes you. Some nonsense. Then if you deal with people with money, then you see whether your Vaishya qualities come up, or you're a Shudra, you lose the money, or you lament like a Shudra. All this you can check and see. Or you're very into Shastra, reading, puja, likes to do deity worship, deity things, then you can say you have those qualities. But doesn't mean you don't have the other qualities. Generally in this age it's
Mixed up.
very much mixed, but you can see some people are more inclined Brahmanically, some are more want to control, some are more business-like, and some just want to do labor, hard work like that, and they are happy, like carpentry, or moving stuff and like that, like that. Yeah. Okay, so that it's like that. So you can see yourself what your nature is, right? Because the modes are always acting on us, and you know where you are always moving towards. So, as I said before, Dhruva Maharaj was doing all this to set example and to help his citizens. But nowadays you can't find all these things. Okay, people are actually exploiting. It's a sad situation, but that's how it is. Okay. Okay. So similarly, Prabhupada says, if anyone wants to enjoy or lord it over material nature, the Lord gives him full facilities, but he becomes entangled in the resultant reactions. Remember, the material energy has this thing. If you're not devotional, you are going to get something from her, and that's entanglement in karma. Karma bandhanam. Similarly, if anyone wants to engage himself fully in devotional service, the Lord gives him full facilities and the devotee enjoys the results. The Lord is therefore known as Karma Phala Prada. Okay. In that case. Text 11.
सर्वात्मन्यच्युते सर्वे
Sarvamanyachyute sarve
तीव्रौघां भक्तिमुद्वहन् ददर्शात्मनि भूतेषु तम् एवावस्थितं विभुम्.
Dhruva Maharaj rendered devotional service unto the Supreme, the reservoir of everything, with unrelenting force. While carrying out his devotional service to the Lord, he could see that everything is situated in him only, and that he is situated in all living entities. The Lord is called Achyuta because he never fails in his prime duty to give protection to his devotees. Okay. Prabhupada says ordinary people or persons cannot understand how the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart. But the devotee can actually see him. Not only can the devotee see him outwardly, but he can see with spiritual vision that everything is resting in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As described in Bhagavad Gita, Matstani Sarva Bhutani. That is the vision of the Mahabhagavata. He sees everything others see, but instead of seeing merely the trees, the mountains, the cities, or the sky, he sees only his worshipable Supreme Personality of Godhead in everything, because everything is resting in him only. Then Prabhupada says, in summary, a Mahabhagavata, a highly elevated pure devotee, sees the Lord everywhere as well as within the heart of everyone. Because he has developed elevated devotional service to the Lord. Not for everyone, just those who have developed this. Okay. And Prabhupada quotes from the Brahma Samhita. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. So you can't imagine this. This is something you are granted by the mercy of the Lord. Okay. Not artificial. Therefore, when Dhruva was doing the sacrifice, he wasn't just doing it as a, like, I have to do it like, no, he was seeing Krishna even in the sacrifice. Right? He's pouring everything, he saw Krishna's energy, everything. Remember in the Daksha thing, we were reading, Krishna is the fire, Krishna is the yagna pit, Krishna is the paraphernalia. So in the same way, he's seeing everything. Okay. Text 12.
तमेवं शीलसम्पन्नं ब्रह्मण्यं दीनवत्सलं भोक्तारं धर्मसेतूनां मेनिरे पितरं प्रजाः.
Dhruva Maharaj was endowed with all godly qualities. He was very respectful to the devotees of the Supreme Lord and very kind to the poor and innocent. And he protected religious principles. With all these qualifications, he was considered to be the direct father of all the citizens. This is a Raja Rishi. Okay. Not only a king, but also leaders of modern democratic or impersonal government must be qualified with all these godly qualities. Then the citizen of the state can be happy. Just like Dhruva Maharaj, everyone was happy. So, in the next paragraph, Prabhupada says, one word is very significant in this connection, Brahmanyam. Dhruva Maharaj is very devoted to the Brahmanas. Okay, because they are always studying the Vedas and engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord, which means he is very favorable to Vaishnavas there. So similarly, we should also be favorable to any Vaishnava. Not time yet. Prabhupada writes, as for good qualities, it is very difficult to find anyone in state administration with good qualities. The administrators simply sit in their administrative posts and say no to every request, as if they were paid to say no to the citizens. Another word, Dina Vatsalam, is very significant also. The state head should be very kind to the innocent. Unfortunately, in this age, the state agents and the presidents draw good salaries from the state and they pose themselves as very pious, but they allow the running of slaughterhouses where innocent animals are killed. If we try to compare the godly qualities of Dhruva Maharaj to the qualities of modern statesmen, we can see that there is no actual comparison. Dhruva Maharaj was present in the Satya Yuga, as will be clear from the next verses. So therefore Prabhupada says you have no choice but to take up Krishna consciousness, because we have all lousy kings and leaders. Only thing that can protect us, Gopta, right, is Krishna. Text 13.
षट्त्रिंशत् वर्ष साहस्रं शशासाक्षितिमण्डलं भोगैः पुण्यक्षयं कुर्वन् अभोगैरशुभक्षयं.
Dhruva Maharaj ruled over this planet for 36,000 years and not one more. He diminished the reactions of pious activities by enjoyment, and by practicing austerities he diminished inauspicious reactions. So even the king is practicing austerities for the benefit of his people. But nowadays they want us to practice austerity for their benefit. Right? They say, we lay you off, you please practice some austerity so that I'll have my big fat bonuses. That's how they do.
So he diminished the reactions of pious activities by enjoyment, so that means he balanced everything
Exhausting.
out.
Exhausting. Yeah.
Exhausting, yeah.
I don't want to come back. But how it balances? It means by
He
Krishna
knows.
consciousness.
Yeah.
Not
He's
by
Yeah.
just doing. So he engaged everyone in devotional service like that. So they don't create all this piety anymore, but because they are worshipping Vishnu, his yagnas are all centered around the Supreme Lord. So everyone is involved in that. And they all also perform austerities. Okay? Yeah. So everybody is favorable to the king. Because the king loves them. He is like their father. Remember we read like that? So they all accept that.
We visited one palace in Vienna.
Vienna.
Vienna or Venice, I don't know. I think Venice.
Hmm.
And the palace was very opulent, like really opulent kind of things that they had, like for when they put everything on display. But when they took us to the king's room, it was really all bare, very austere. And then they had the story written down about the king. That the king would wake up at 3 a.m.
Hmm.
and from 3:30, like he would freshen up, and then from 3:30 to 5:30 he would pray to Christ
Hmm.
to give him the strength and the intelligence and the knowledge so that he can serve the people nicely.
Sounds like a pious king.
And like when we
Devotee.
went to the queen's room, it was very opulent, but
Okay.
his was like really austere.
So yeah, so it's amazing here. So Dhruva was just more interested in doing devotional service. He wasn't interested in accumulating any things. That's why he wasn't concerned of all those things that most people would be. Okay, Prabhupada writes in the Srimad Bhagavatam that devotional service should be aprati hata, which means unchecked by the material conditions of happiness or distress. The devotee undergoes processes of austerity such as observing ekadasi and similar other fasting days and refraining from illicit sex life, intoxication, gambling and meat eating. So unless you are really sick or you're too old or too young, you should observe ekadasi and fasting days. Okay, do not try not to avoid fasting on fasting days. Right? A lot of people will try not to do that, but you should practice and you should train your children also, so that they will know what are fasting days and why they should do it also. They will appreciate it. It becomes like I've seen many times in our Krishna conscious movement that children don't like to fast. Right? You always hear that. They will always complain, and it's like so negative. So we wonder why, why should the children feel so negative about fasting? It may be because
They didn't teach them properly.
because the parents may be negative towards it themselves. Like,
They can-
oh, tomorrow is fasting day. And then, oh man, we have to fast. Right? It's not like, happy for the Lord, I want to fast. It's like a big, terrible event is happening, like part of the pralaya, One can say, tomorrow fasting day, right? Yeah, okay, alright, then that's in a nice favorable way. Maybe I should eat more so I can fast, it's okay, fine. But, tomorrow, they see, oh no, I can't eat this, that. That's what they all talk. I always wonder what's wrong with it. Can't take grain, can't eat man, only one day, These people, I think many people are their life is so easy that they don't understand. When we grew up also, when we were young, sometimes we don't even get things to eat, or we only eat the leftover rice in water the next day. Or when I was in the army, we go field trips, sometimes there's nothing to eat, just one bottle of water.
Go on.
So a lot of people have life so easy, they don't know what austerity is, and they don't want to train others like their children and so on. This is part of what Rupa Goswami explains in the Nectar of Devotion. You have to do this, and it has to be done. Remember, in the 4th chapter, Krishna says, when sacrifice is done with knowledge, it gives you advancement. But when sacrifice is done without knowledge, it is material, binding. It is material. So then why do that kind of sacrifice when you are unhappy? That means you are in a mode of ignorance. Right? That's silly. We are supposed to do all these austerities and so on with knowledge, which means what? You are
Krishna conscious.
connecting with Krishna. Krishna, I'm doing this. I want you to be happy. Make me happy also while I fast.
Many people ask Prabhu, how does our fasting please the Lord?
Because they are not happy, they think the Lord cannot be happy.
No, is it something very sadistic kind of thing?
No, it's not sadistic.
Why are you
Because
suffering your body? Something like that. They
you're
are
giving up your enjoyment.
Okay.
So that you can do Krishna conscious activity.
More activities to please Him. So you're giving up time that you would take to eat and enjoy, then you are giving that time to Krishna's service. Not that we sit down and lament,
Think about it.
Yeah. Let's say it's Janmashtami today, right? It's 3 more hours, 3 more hours.
Three watches.
Instead of thinking, let's do, if you are tired, you can sit down and things like that. But how when is it? 3 more hours, 3 more hours. As soon as midnight, only zoom, kitchen, drink. In the beginning, it's okay, but over the years, you should try to develop more detachment to this kind of feeling and feel more devotional. Yeah. Then you will enjoy that whole activity. It should be enjoyable, right? Susukam kartum abhyayam, but then ours is dukkam kartum abhyayam.
Durdukam.
The knowledge must be there, and it should make you feel happy, right? There's a famous song now they sing everywhere, happy, happy. So we should be happy for Krishna. Text 14.
एवं बहुसवं कालं महात्मा विचिरेन्द्रियैः त्रिवर्गौपैकं नीत्वा त्रायाधान् नृपासनम्.
Self-controlled great soul Dhruva Maharaj thus passed many years favorably executing 3 kinds of worldly activities, namely religiosity, economic development, and satisfaction of all material desires. Thereafter he handed over the charge of the royal throne to his son. He's not doing liberation because he is a pure devotee. Right? Perfection of materialistic life is suitably attained by the process of observing religious principles. This leads automatically to successful economic development, and thus there is no difficulty in satisfying all material desires. So dharma leads to artha, leads to kama. Okay, once you are satisfied in karma, then you can think about liberation. That's why it's dharma, artha, kama, moksha, like that. So, same thing Srila Prabhupada is saying. So here he leads them all the way to fulfilling their desires also, and then he shows them devotional practice. He is the example. So he is going to show them how to give up. He is,
I didn't understand. You said when the desires are satisfied, then we can think about moksha.
If your needs for your sense gratification is done, right? Why you think of anything else?
But it will never get done.
No, this is religious principle. Yes, religious principles regulated. You won't be thinking about it. You're satisfied. When you do it everything through proper rituals and so on, in the varnashram thing, what happens to your consciousness? It gets purified, and therefore you are, as you said, detached also. You won't hanker for it. Rather, you want to get free of these inebriaties that are holding you back. That's how your intelligence also will develop. Sacrifices should increase transcendental knowledge, and then it will also develop. From that knowledge, you also develop detachment automatically, based on devotional practices. So here you can see Dhruva Maharaj was satisfied with whatever he was doing for his people, and the next thing he did was he realized his son was ready, and he handed the throne to his son. Not like in the British monarchy, you see, she don't want to give up. Her son is old and she is almost falling over, and this is weird now. So much they are holding on,
Son has given up.
Yeah.
He's given up.
Anyway, he can't get it because he remarried, so they have
Yeah.
all kinds of silly
Church.
laws and so on. So you can see that problem there. And then you can see in India all the politicians, 90 years old and so on. And God, they can't even see or hear, I'm sure. What is that to hold the position for? They probably melt in their seats. Such a sad situation. Right? Similarly, as devotees also, when we hold some position, we should do our best in that position as the head of preaching or whatever you want to do. After a certain number of years, you should get somebody, you take over, because I don't want to be attached to this thing, because it will happen. You will see. You just can't let it go. It's just too good. You will develop a lot of tentacles and then you'll just wrap around. So you need to learn to, now you start giving up, so then you can give up. So it's very important, because you'll find that then you'll be 30 years the head of this department. What for? And then no one else gets the opportunity to. They also have desires and cannot be fulfilled like Prince Charles. So we should allow. After a few years, like you can go for maybe 5-10 years. You try, you do your best, and then you say no, train someone. Let them also do. Then you go preach, travel and preach something like that. So that way everyone will be happy also. Otherwise. We still have a lot of material things in our life, so we will still find problems otherwise. Unless you are a empowered personality like Dhruva Maharaj, 36,000 years you can sit in that post. And then you do. Huh?
And then walk away.
Yeah. And see how after 35,000 you can say, well, he did it for so long, that's why he can give it up. Right? You will argue like that, but that's not the case, You will find if people after 50 years cannot give up, that means how attached they are. If he had done it in that same mood, he won't give up. Yeah. So therefore he gives up. He's not attached to that. Immediately he puts his son and say, you take charge. Just like his own father, right? When he found out Dhruva was old enough, he said, I'm going. I've had enough of all these things. So he was considered a Raja Rishi. Yeah?
It's like they're waiting for that moment.
Waiting for. Remember when the Lord gave him benediction, he said, your senses will be the same for 36,000 years. So same thing here. What is that? Avichalendriya. Okay. So he was always self-controlled. Never allowed the senses to be disturbing him. So the mind is your enemy when it is controlled in devotional service. It is your enemy when
it's in the Maya without
when
dealing with
it deals with the sense gratification. Yeah. So that's when it is. So here you can see how his mind and senses are all 100% control. He wasn't even thinking of anything material. It was always, he also told the Lord, I want to only remember you. So same thing. So then Prabhupada quotes the example of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. One of the direct disciples of Lord Chaitanya was the son of a very rich man. Although he had no interest in enjoying material happiness, when he was entrusted with doing something in managing the state, he did it perfectly. Srila Gaura Sundara advised him, from within keep yourself and your mind completely aloof, but externally execute the material duties just as they need to be done. So this is one way you can also do your duties, your job, everything. Okay. This transcendental position can be achieved by devotees only. And this is our yoga. We are connecting to Krishna. Everything we do must be centered around Krishna. Okay, text 15.
Manyamana idam vishvam Maya rachitam atmani Avidya rachita swapna Gandharva nagaropamam.
Srila Dhruva Maharaj realized that this cosmic manifestation bewilders living entities like a dream or phantasmagoria, because it is a creation of the illusory external energy of the Supreme Lord. Oh, Prabhupada is talking about Gandharva Nagara. In the forest, sometimes it appears there are big palaces and nice cities. So even in dreams, we may create many false things out of imagination. But a devotee, he doesn't see all these things, because he can only see, what does he see?
The Lord.
Only the Lord. Therefore, none of this illusion can disturb him. He's not worried about the situation here. He's only thinking about pleasing the Lord and going back to Godhead, because he has a higher taste. 16.
Atmastriyapatya shudro balam vruddha kosham Antahpuram parivihara bhuvascha ramya Bhumandalam jaladine kalamakhalaya Kaloparishtamiti sa prayaya vishalam
Thus Dhruva Maharaj at the end left his kingdom, which extended all over the earth and was bounded by the great oceans. He considered his body, his wives, his children, his friends, his army, his rich treasury, his very comfortable palaces, and his many enjoyable pleasure grounds to be creations of the illusory energy. Thus, in due course of time, he retired to the forest in the Himalayas known as Badrikashrama. He had so many wonderful things. He had so much desire when he was a little boy. Now he has no interest at all, because he was a devotee. Just see the difference. If you are not a devotee, you will have attraction to the material nature. You will want to enjoy material nature. But as soon as you become devotee, you become so satisfied internally and at the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And just see, you can just give up all the rich and go into the forest. Isn't it? Just gives up everything. And now we can't even compare, right? To the rich, he gave riches he gave up. We got nothing, compared to him. And yet we cannot give up. That's right. He gave up everybody, his family, everything, and just went to the mountain. Just like Srila Prabhupada, when the time came, he just gave up and walked out. Just like that. So, something to think about. Are you ready to walk out? When will you be ready to walk out? But this is things you need to think about, because it matters. And when you walk out, not like you abandon everything. I mean, walk out for Krishna conscious activities. What are you going to do? What will you be doing? Therefore, you have to have param drisva navartate, right? Nivartate. You have to have that taste. So start developing the taste. Don't wait for the last moment. Then you can't. You can't develop taste later on. And then it's later you regret.
You cannot sustain also.
Yeah, therefore you regret, right? Oh, I wasted my life. Start practicing now. It's not too late. Just, do your duties, but connect everything to Krishna, and then start, not taking the fruits of the actions. Okay?
So the recommended activity,
Pardon?
like in the beginning of the classes, you had mentioned that when retirement comes,
Yes.
the activity should be more centered around preaching.
Oh, whatever you can do. Preaching doesn't mean you have to travel. It could be you can be in temple and preach also, or you can do deity worship. That's preaching also. Everything is preaching.
Means just take few services and be fixed in that completely.
Yeah, that services that you feel contented to do in that. You can't. Let's say you cannot dress, but you insist on dressing. That is not what I'm saying.
Yeah, physically you get weak, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do?
Yes.
Strenuous
Some
steps.
things you cannot do, so you have to be. Logically you say, I'm not going to do this. I'll do this. Yeah.
But at that stage, should we still be thinking about what I like to do and not like to do, or what I connect with, not connect with, or should we be prepared enough that we are able to contribute in whatever way is required?
Well, at that stage you
Within our
should
nature.
know
Yes.
what you can do.
Yeah.
By that.
So
So
I mean, what you can do is one thing, but like right now, it's more like I like to do this, so I do this.
initially your devotion will be like that, but then you have to start getting not to be attached. A Vaishnava should be able to do many services, and you should be happy doing any service. But obviously, as you do your service, you will be attracted to something that you feel most pleasing in your heart, and then you do those things. Yeah, and I don't think anyone is going to say you can't do that. Yeah.
That's not external at that time.
It's more
internally.
internalized. You should be starting to practice this kind of thing, because now the problem is you're not practicing even giving up, right?
Yeah.
You're all accumulating. Yeah. Grihastha means accumulation. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, one Maharaj.
Huh?
Maharaj said,
Yeah, Grihastha means accumulation. But actually Grihastha means you need to give
Giving.
charity, so you don't become attached. Right?
Like I heard somewhere that a good grihastha is one that who before entering the grihastha ashram knows when they are going to exit out of it. They plan for it.
Yeah, that means you must be a good devotee before you
Yes.
get married.
Yeah.
But if you haven't had those kind of
Some
not just samskars, haven't been trained, right? Let's say some couple already married, then they become devotee, then they have with them all the baggages they bring along, We all have different baggage, right? When you go flying, you carry your baggage. So the same way, so wherever you go, you bring all your baggages.
Truckload of
Truckloads. Point is, the practice now you know, because now you understand, I have to give up in 20 years, 15 years, like that. Start planning. Start getting deeper in your chanting, in your reading, in your relationship, things like that. Then it becomes easy to, give up material things, like how Dhruva Maharaj did, right? And then more or less attracted to spiritual things. Yeah. So then you will always be sitting in the temple, like that. Yeah. Or like waiting when the curtain will open. Right? You always want to have that thing, and then it gets more and more, and then later on you can preach, the philosophy, because you've read deeply. So anyone can talk to anybody and they can all explain. Like that. Yeah. Like that. That's what Prabhupada wanted, right? Prabhupada didn't want us to become what?
Babaji.
Babaji's.
Babaji, yes, not Babaji. Not only that, not materialists also, he didn't want us to be like that. Right? He didn't want us to become so wealthy. Just like the Christians, right? When in the beginning they were really serious about their philosophy, but now it's all materialist. You say if you are rich, then God loves you. That's their philosophy.
So what is Nirjan Bhajan then? What is Nirjan Bhajan?
Nir means?
Nirjan.
Solitary.
Nir means?
No.
No. No people.
No people.
Nirjan. That means you go to the forest.
Or you can be solitary within yourself while you're doing active service.
Yeah, but how many people can act like that? We are not on that capacity. We follow what the Acharya has taught us. So we follow according to Prabhupada. Huh? So keep serving actually. If you, the more you serve until you die, then it's easier actually.
Serve now, samadhi later.
Don't worry about all that.
No, but for us that means that when we are serving Krishna and we are with the devotees, that also is Nirjan Bhajan in one.
Yeah, but
Not
don't worry about that.
No, I just had a question.
Yeah.
I was asking, what does it mean?
Yeah, so you can say it's a nir jana.
Because that sounds hard for me.
Of course, that's why we are not into that. We are not. Ours is all Sankirtan.
We are not like
Sankirtan together. Yeah. Yeah.
Goshtana.
we are
Goshtana.
one yogi asked to Prabhupada, right? This thing. So like Vajanandi and Goshtana, but we are going in the line towards like going out and preaching Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message.
Yeah, Goshanandi, right? So preach. Preach how you can preach. Some people can preach by dressing the deities nicely. Some preach by cooking nicely. Some go out book distribution. All these are different ways of pleasing the Lord. Yeah, all these are
Eating prasadam, honoring.
and it's also service. But when you get very elevated, you won't be eating it. So don't worry.
Just come slow.
Now because we are not, huh?
He first serves everybody and then he eats.
Prasadanandi.
No, he takes Ananda in serving. Then he takes Krishna.
Sevanandi.
I'm not
Sevanandi.
He's seva.
now so many devotees we have to take care, serve them.
Alright, so we'll